Okay, so PowerPoint. We're not going to spend this lesson on modularization, but it is part of it. So modularization is just dividing code into separate or smaller modules. The first one we look at is functions. So what is a function? It's a sequence of statements used to perform a calculation. So when you define a function, you use it for one specific task and it has a specific name. Now you can create your own functions or you can use the built-in functions. For example, a built-in function would be print or type, so functions that Python supports. Now, if you look at other functions, there are conversions, built-in, etc. Why do we use functions? Creating new functions give you the opportunity to name a group of statements, which makes your program easy to read. It can make your program smaller by eliminating repetitive code. So instead of repeating the code, you just call the function. And it's useful in many programs. So let's have a look at a bit more. So functions store sequences of statements that are executed when the function is called. Once we define a function, we can reuse it. For example, if I define the function this, which I will have to probably change the code because that probably won't work. I need to go brackets, etc. Yeah, and we will stretch it out. Yeah, it'll be all day. Now, you see here, this is more likely to work. All right. Notice this one doesn't have a return value, others will. Functions use the same rules in declaring. Good. So once we define that function, then we can then call it, which we'll look at in the later slides. Here's another example. So you can see my two functions there. Def add 2, A, B, they're the parameters, that's what's getting sent. So 3 will be A and 5 will be B. We add them together and then we return what's added and then we will print out X. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to look at this and I will look at it through Visualize. Great, so you see that's my function, starts with def, and the name of the function, the parameters coming through it, if there are any, and then you need the colon to end it, just like if statements and iterations. So let's run through it. Visualize execution. And just remember it's in 2.7, so bracket X. Visualize. Right, let's go forward. It'll go and say X equals the result of the function, which should be added. And then it'll go through and you can see there A is 3 and B is 5. We'll go forward. Added equals A plus B, so it should equal 8. Return 8. So then X will equal 8. When I go through and get to the next value, and then I'll print out 8. Good. And you can sort of see how it works. To activate the function, you need to call it using its name and putting in the correct amount of parameters. If I put in too little or too many, it will throw an error. All right, back to the PowerPoint. So, going through this, you see we've got some other examples here. I will convert them to 3.6. But the main thing is the change in the raw input to input. And then there is other information on functions and some pseudocode. So function, pay calc, P hours, and then pay calc equals pay rate times P hours end function. So you can sort of see the definitions here. So instead of define or def, we have function. And then here we make it pay rate times payment hours. And then instead of end function, we say what's being returned, which is the variable pay calc. All right. So that's the main differences, and instead we can just use the call command for the pseudocode. So I can go call pay calc p rate p hours, which you might say is $15 and 4. Then you can sort of do it. Cool. So you don't need to mention the return value in the pseudocode. I might add in the call values as well under here so that you can see them. Stubs are just placeholders for functions. So we just use it to hold it in place. Now the two different variables we have are local and global. These terms refer to the lifetime, so how long they last. And you can go through here and look at the different reasons why we have them. And then there's parameter passing, which we'll go through in class as well. Hopefully that's given you enough to start. And if there's any other questions, we will either discuss them in class or add an additional video. All right. So I'll make those changes to the PowerPoint and I will upload it. Thanks for your time.